Okay, let's introduce the concept of planning a project, starting with some wisdom from a Chinese gentleman. He said the beginning is the most important part of the work, and so it always is. Paying attention to his advice would be a very smart thing for us to do. Let's get the foundation right so that the future will work well for us. So what's that look like? Well, I suggest that it looks like a list of things to do and a list of the time that we have to do it in. Now, I'm going to introduce you to a particular form of project management called a Gantt chart, but they're all the same no matter which you use. They concentrate on tasks, that is what you have to do, and they concentrate on the time that you have to do it in. The tasks can be divided up into subtasks and provide as much detail as you need, and the time frame are listed in the time divisions that suit you best: weeks, days, months, hours, depending on the time you have available and when you plan on working on the project. What does a Gantt chart look like? Well, Gantt charts are fairly simple beasts, and the name comes of course from someone's surname called Henry Gantt. Simple Gantt chart, you can see here, has a list of tasks on the side and the dates are up the top. And as you fill in each one of the various different bars that you see going across from the task to the date, you can start to see an order of the sequence of the charts of the tasks. So the tasks are then matched up to the dates, and then you'll start to see them in order. And why is that important? Well, it's important because some things have to be done before others can be done. You can't pour concrete until you've done your excavation of your slab, or for the formwork, or set up the formwork for your slab. So the tasks need to be done in order. Okay, as I mentioned, Henry Gantt developed Gantt charts, and they were used commonly in the First World War for major project work that's done in wartime. Now, remember, you have a work breakdown schedule, which is a number of tasks. Break those down into as much detail as possible, and that will ensure not that you'll avoid problems, but it'll ensure that you'll have enough time to solve the problems that you're going to encounter. When you come to listing all your activities, your tasks, try and be specific about the sorts of things that are important, that you can measure each task as having been definitely finished. For example, complete a PowerPoint storyboard is a much better than idea to write down than get ideas for a PowerPoint storyboard. I mean, that doesn't tell me how many ideas, and when I'm finishing, it doesn't give me a clearly defined start and finish point. Try and list your tasks so that you can measure their beginning and the ending. Okay. Now, one thing that would be very important to point out, and that is that by developing a project management plan, you're engineering or setting yourself up for success because you'll have enough time to sort problems out. They won't become crisis points. Now, the more detail that you can place inside a Gantt chart, this one here that we're looking at now is a more complex Gantt chart. The more detail you can place in your tasks, the more you can assign tasks to various people if you're working with more than one person. If you can measure the person's progress during the project, you have a much better way of controlling what's going on and foreseeing problems. If someone's falling behind, you'll notice it because you'll see their progress rate has dropped down. Now notice here that there's in this particular Gantt system, which I think is Gantter, Gantter, it's free software that you can download. The person's name is placed against a particular task and their progress is measured. So their progress in completing the task is being measured as well, and you'll get a percentage for complete. And the tasks are also nicely broken up into categories and subcategories, which is a really good way of doing it. I strongly suggest that you use that sort of a system. You'll find it very useful for yourself. Okay, and remember what I said to you before. So in summaries, it's very important that you have a project management tool. It's important that your tasks are listed clearly and broken down in a way that they can be measured. And it's also important that you set your time up to reflect reality. Allow more time for things than what you imagine they need. It's always going to take more effort, not less effort, to get things done. So allow yourself some extra time to be able to help. And lastly, ensure that you place your Gantt chart somewhere where it's safe and you're going to be able to access it wherever you need to, specifically store it on the cloud. Don't leave it sitting somewhere where you can't reach it where you need it. And add it and change it and check